Reason being, secrets are like anchors on a boat. What does an anchor do for the boat? Holds it in place. The secrets that I can no longer keep a secret are my thoughts, my feelings, and what I'm going through. If I keep my thoughts a secret, they're going to destroy me. If I keep my feelings a secret, they consume me. And if I don't ask for help, how am I supposed to get help? Listen, if you want to be miserable and sober, just white knuckle it. You'll find it. So because of that, because I kept my thoughts a secret, my feelings a secret, and what I'm going through a secret, I thought the world was against me, and I thought no one wanted to help me. But yet I was never telling people how I truly thought. I was never telling people how I truly felt, and I was never asking for help. I don't do that no more. I'm transparent with the people in my life that I can be transparent with. Am I transparent with everybody? Only on certain things. You got to be careful who you share your thoughts with. You got to be careful who you share your feelings with. And you got to be careful who you share your energy with. Because they'll take your energy. And if they're taking your energy, to me, boundaries. Boundaries with me is I have to protect my energy. Listen, you could be getting high. I don't care. I don't make a boundary with people getting high. I make a boundary with people that are getting high that aren't trying to get better. But if you're trying to get better and you're relapsing and you're still getting high, I can rock with you. Because the energy is good for me that you're trying. I don't care what your mistakes are. What I focus on is what people do after mistakes. That's the energy that I have to be very protective of. Good. And then some life lessons. Once you replay, we're going to talk about negative thought patterns, aka cognitive distortions. If people want the clinical term, I really don't mess with clinical terms. Negative thought patterns is what we're going to talk about today. In order for something to be a pattern, what has to happen? Habitual. Say that again? Habitual, okay.
Habitual.
Drug use became what?
Pattern.
How did drug use become a pattern? What did we do? We kept doing it, right? So it's repetitive. A pattern is something that's repetitive. We're going to talk about negative thought patterns today. Because the sooner... Anybody remember the definition of relapse?
Deterioration of forward progress.
There you go. Deterioration of improvement. We can catch ourselves in the negative thought pattern sooner. The negative thought patterns don't lead us to a place where the drug and the drink has an opportunity to come back. I'm a counterpuncher. I let life happen. I let my negative thoughts happen. I let my problems happen. And then I counterpunch it. Talking about your problems is very important. There's another step that I learned that we could do. How are you talking to your problems, though? Death in life is in the power of the tongue. And those who love it eat the fruit therefore of it. So are we talking about us being broke? That's a problem. But are you saying I'm not going to be broke forever? Or are you complaining about how broke you are? Talking to my problem is far more important than talking about my problems. We should be talking solutions to our problems when we realize the problem. Because what are we doing for ourselves? What do you think what you focus on you attract? So if I'm talking about my problems as just problems, what do you think I'm attracting?
Problems.
Even better, we're attracting feelings that are associated with problems. What are some feelings that are associated with problems? Anxiety, good. What else? Doubt, very good. Depression, good. What? Fear, good. Rejection.
Hurt.
Say again? Hurt, 100%. So if I talk to my problem as a problem, I am now attracting these feelings. So if I'm attracting them, you know what that also means? I'm creating them. I create my negative feelings based on how I'm focused on something. So the negative feeling in my life still comes, but once I get that negative feeling, I got to talk different to it now. Challenge it, 100%. Very good. So how are you going to talk to your problems today rather than just talk about them? It's a very big step. Very big step. It opens your mind, your perspective, everything, right? So once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results. I'm going to say it again a little bit slower. I want you guys to tell me what one word is really sticking out. Once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results.
Replace.
Very good.
What?
Replace. You notice it didn't say... Reset. You notice it didn't say once you overcome. Negative thoughts, overcoming is way too difficult for me. I'm telling you that right now. If people could do it, God bless them. I can't have a negative thought. Think a positive thought. Believe the positive thought and walk in the positive thought all in that same time frame. I just can't. If I could overcome a negative thought, this is how my mind processes it. It might be wrong, but this is just how my mind processes it. If I could overcome a negative thought, I should never have that negative thought ever again. So therefore, I don't think you could overcome a negative thought. I think we need to replace negative thoughts. Look at active addiction. I'm real good at replacing beer and liquor, coke, MDMA, this girl for that girl, this job for that job, this couch for that couch. I'm real good at replacing. So we need to replace our negative thoughts. Anybody want to take a jab at how you can replace your negative thoughts?
I scream awesome sauce at him.
Awesome sauce. There you go. See how he's talking to it? He's talking to it. What do you got?
I did this thing where you have, like, if you had a negative thought, because it's just really natural for us to have negative thoughts. So it's like this thing I learned in the treatment I was at, and you challenge it with 5 different questions.
Okay.
So it's like you actually sit and take time to think about it and process it, and then challenge it. Like for example, like everybody in my house hates me.
Okay.
And then you go, like that's just something you think. So it's like, does everybody in my house really hate me?
There you go.
And then you just do like 5 questions, and then you got the end of it, is this true?
Mm-hmm.
It's usually not. Like, and you just like reword the phrase. Like, some people in my house might not like it.
Reframe.
Yeah, but it's just like, you actually have to sit and like challenge it.
Very good. We're going to get into that with the lesson. So very
You can also
good.
use the I ams.
The I am's good. There's a reason why I asked you guys for action words. Your action word is how you replace your negative thoughts. I don't care what action word you give me. You can give me patience, self-care, determination. I don't care. When you have a negative thought, if you practice the action word you give me, you will get through that negative thought. For instance, patience. If you practice patience when you have a negative thought, you will not act in the negative thought, and we will not create more problems because of our negative thought. Self-care. If that is your action word, when you have a negative thought, go do something for yourself. Mine is transparency. When I have negative thoughts, I share them. The only way to quiet this, and this shit gets loud, the only way to quiet it is getting loud out my mouth, but I'm a New Yorker, so that's easy for me, right? But you could journal, there's so many ways you could express your thoughts. Action word, because recovery really has nothing to do with how you feel. Recovery has everything to do with how you act, right? So we went through this one time. We'll go through it again. Thoughts, actions, feelings, right? It's a triangle. Thoughts, actions, feelings. I mean, they could go in any direction. This is my process. Does anybody think their process is different? This is what happens first, second, and third for me. So is anybody's process different for them? Some people think, it's feelings happens first for them.
It's a good acronym, backwards fat.
There you go.
I just like, I got yesterday, I was getting angry or whatever, I feel it coming out, I look up, I get right, I look with it right, and I identify it, and I said, that ain't me, bro. That ain't, that's my flesh.
Amen.
Come on, Holy Spirit, that's what I do. I do that all day, every day.
Good. What you got?
I try to stay in the thoughts like she was saying with questions.
Okay.
Why do I, and I almost picture myself, this is so boring, I'm saying this to people. I picture myself like Sheriff Andy Taylor in Andy Griffith Show, and he would get on his knees and talk to a little kid, and be like, what are you mad about? Is everything okay? Are they really mad at you? Or are you really mad at yourself? What happened? And the more I do that, it's so fucking exhausting. That's what I keep talking about. It's so tiring to do, but it works.
So this is something that I came across when I was in treatment like 3 years ago, and I started practicing it. Look, the thought of the drug, the using of the drug, and then the feeling of the drug. So my whole thing was to get a feeling. So a feeling was the last thing in my process. So look, I learned backwards to move forward. Say you hate yourself right now. Say I hate myself. I gotta go backwards. What actions am I taking in my life that's making me hate myself? What thought created the action and then the feeling? Now I'm at the root of my problem. Now I know next time I get that thought, I cannot act on it. Right? So whatever feelings that you have right now that you do not like, there's probably actions you're taking in your life that's making you feel that way. There was a thought that allowed the action to happen. Thoughts become words. Words become actions. Actions become habits. Habits become character. Character becomes destiny. Right? From this process, I came up with something else. Prepare, effort, outcome. Remember, I told you guys I work backwards. So there's a book. If anyone wants to read it, I did not read the whole book. I'm a very specific reader. The book is called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Helping habits, right? In the book, it says, start with the end in mind. What is the outcome you want to get in your life? Whatever that is. Now we got to work backwards. Where does the effort have to go in your life in order to get that outcome? And what distractions do you have to prepare for so you can get that outcome? Start with the end in mind and work backwards. So if you want to be a business owner, cool. That's the outcome. Where does your effort now have to go in order to become a business owner? And what distractions could stop you from becoming a business owner? These are like the first 2 things I came across when I was early on recording. If you prepare, you're going to be more constructive. If your effort goes in a place where it needs to, you're going to be more productive. And then your outcomes are going to be way better. Now look at these 2 processes. I want my outcomes to determine my feelings. So I do not stop until I get the outcome that makes me happy. The outcome that makes me feel worthy. The outcome that makes me have more hope. So I don't stop until I get this. So this is the last thing of my process. If you're chasing happiness, so your outcome is happiness. All right, where does your effort have to go in your life to make you happy? And how do you prepare to make sure that happens?
Isn't happy like too broad a goal?
Happiness is too broad. You don't even want to chase happiness, right? I tell you guys all the time, don't chase your recovery like you chase the drug. Because when we chase the drug, what were we chasing?
Feeling.
How long do these things last? So when you're chasing something, it's not about keeping it. When you're chasing, it's just about getting it. So you're going to do the things, the 90 meetings in 90 days, get a sponsor, do all the things. We're going to do all the things because we're chasing recovery. Eventually, those things ain't going to do nothing for you no more if you ain't trying to attract your recovery. I don't chase anything in this world anymore, right? Because chasing it, you're going to get it, but you're not going to be able to keep it because the drive was to only get it, not keep it. It's a different person. We could cut corners. We could fuck people over. We don't have to really do things over and over and over again. In order to keep something, you must stay consistent with what you did to get it in order to keep it. How many times all I did was the work to get it, and then I stopped doing the work to keep it? Got the 30, the 60, the 90, got the job, lost it all. I lost it all because all I was doing was chasing it. I didn't want to attract it to keep it. All right? So a positive mind finds opportunity in everything, where a negative mind finds faults in everything. Are we seeing things as opportunities, or are you seeing things as faults? If you're looking for faults, you're going to find a lot, especially in treatment. You're going to find a lot of things that they could be doing better. Are you looking at it as an opportunity to get better on your own, or are you finding faults in places because they're not doing what you need them to do? Everything is an opportunity for me today. My last time in treatment was my 30th time, but it was the only time I got it right. You only have to get this right once. Everything else before it is progress. So how are we looking at the past? As an opportunity to learn how to get better today? Or is the past failure is fatal? Failure is final? So, negativity can only affect you if you're on the same frequency. Negativity can only affect you if you're already on that frequency. I'm a positive person. Negative stuff doesn't stop me. Yet negative stuff rents space in my head for a little bit because I'm human. But it doesn't stop me because I'm not on the frequency. When you are on a negative frequency, everything negative is taking you out. When you are on a positive frequency, the negativity might stop you, but it doesn't stop you from succeeding, though. So how do you change frequencies, you think? How do you think you could go from a... How did we go from a positive frequency to a negative? Because we were all on a positive frequency at one point. How did we go from positive to negative? That's how we would go negative to positive. Good answer. Tuned out, good. What? Language, very good. Distractions, good. Lost your purpose, very good. So let's say we were on a positive frequency. We started using drugs. I don't know about you. I still had good people in my life, even though I was miserable. It took a little bit before the good people left me. And then I went from a positive to a negative frequency. So what does that mean? That means I promoted negative energy while I was on a positive frequency. So the negative energy then took me off the positive frequency. So now to reverse that, we're going to have to promote positive energy until you get on a positive frequency. So that means you're going to have to promote love and not get it back. How many people loved you and you didn't love them back? How many people showed us respect and we didn't show them respect back? How many people did it for us, but we didn't do it back, so it took us off that frequency and brought us down to a negative frequency. In order to change our lives, I'm sorry, but this is the only way that I know, you got to promote the energy and not get it back before you're going to be able to get there. Week, 2 weeks is not enough. It has to be something that's a consistent thing. The more consistent you are, the more doors that will open to you, no matter what energy you're promoting. The more consistent I was with active addiction, look at the doors that opened for me. Jail, institutions, homelessness. I lost my soul because of the practice of it. The open door. The longer you stay on this road, the more doors are going to open for you. Yes. And you might have already seen that happen in your life. All right, so we're going to talk about negative thought patterns. All right, negative thought patterns are one automatic. So stop beating yourself up. Sis over there said that negative thoughts are, 90% of self-talk is negative. Scientifically proven. And scientifically proven we have 75,000 thoughts a day. So of the 75,000 thoughts, 90% is negative. So we have to be careful which thoughts we make reality, though. Not all your thoughts need to be made reality. Like you said, challenge your thoughts.
Isn't that even in a happy person?
That's in a regular person.
So out of 75,000 thoughts, 90% are negative.
Yes.
Do you think that it's possible to retrain that?
Yes. I don't know if it's possible to retrain myself not to have negative thoughts. I think it's possible to train myself to counterpunch the negative thoughts.
It's your survival, isn't it?
I don't think I could get rid of negativity because we live in a fallen world.
Yeah.
I don't think our goal should be to remove negativity because that's way too much energy. I think the goal... Go ahead.
Our goal is to train ourselves to react a healthy
Yes.
healthy way to our negativity.
Yes.
And how we project our thoughts.
Very good.
And to not let your negative thoughts, like to try to flip them. I don't
Yes.
know,
You're there.
to challenge them.
So active addiction, right? We're responding to things. My drug use is a response to things. I don't know about you guys. I used when I felt abandoned. I used when I was afraid. I used when I was happy. So my drug use was always a response to something. So therefore, recovery has to be what? A different response to things. Because what I realize is that I can't stop my frustration. I can't stop my anger. I can't stop people from saying the things they want. We try to prevent the inevitable and we get our asses kicked. So what I learned is life isn't about what happens to you. Hear this part. Life is not about what happens to us. The life that we live is how we deal with what's happening to us. The life I live is a result of my choices. Period. Shakespeare, the choices we make dictate the lives we live. So we got to make better choices. We make better choices, we live a better life. So how do you think we can learn how to make better choices? Who's the best person that could teach you on how to make better choices?
Jesus Christ.
Always God. Let's go second. Who's the second person that can teach you? Yourself. You are your greatest teacher. Your greatest teacher is you. The past you.
Do you not agree that we're also our worst enemy?
100%.
Okay.
That's why I'm not in competition with people. And no matter what someone does to me, you're not my enemy. Because I'm fighting principalities.
Right.
I'm fighting a spiritual war within inside me every single day I wake up and when I'm walking through. So it's not people that stop me from doing anything. It's me. I heard a great quote. God said, love thy enemy. So I obeyed and I loved myself.
Yeah, that part.
That's right.
Damn, that was a good one.
When you realize that it's really just you that's the problem, you will start to realize that you are the only solution that's going to be able to
You
get
think
you
that's what
through
he was
this.
telling
I
us
agree.
the whole time?
What?
To love your enemy is really just to love yourself? Really, do you have any enemies? Like, honestly, other than yourself? Like, if you only have
Yeah.
enemies, if you let, you know what I mean? If you let, I don't have enemies, you know what I mean? Because I don't care enough to have,
Okay.
you know? Like, really, that's crazy. That just made me think about so much.
Where'd you get your hand up? What you got, brother?
Oh, Prince has a quote. He said that the battle is in your mind and the war is for your soul.
Ooh, I like that. Say that again.
The battle is in your mind.
Okay.
The war is for your soul. And I think there's a point about questioning. I think that's the battlefield is questioning your thoughts.
Yes.
If you want to take that metaphor one step further, the battlefield is questioning your thoughts and be very honest.
That's what it
With
honesty.
respect to the answers, and then also not mourning the life that could have been too hard in real moments. Because sometimes it'll be a smell, it'll be a fucking song, it could be a damn commercial, and it'll put me back into an emotional state that's fucked up. And then I have to question where that's coming from and how that got there and why I feel that way and where that takes it. That's the battlefield.
So, very good. Negative thought patterns are automatic. What do you got?
The scripture says that bringing to captivity every thought.
Yes.
And then it says stand on the word of God.
Come on.
In the day of testing.
Come on.
So if you come, if you're standing on the word of God, it's gonna, he had to rebuke the devil, say, get thee behind me, Satan.
Yes.
Because he was telling him lies. He was actually quoting in the wilderness the scripture. The devil was coming back at him with the scripture. He knows them back and forwards. But he'll take out parts of the scripture, so you're not really standing on the full truth of
Yeah.
the word of God.
Why you gotta question?
Yo,
And that's how he attacks all of us.
the enemy wants you to believe in God, just not Jesus.
Yes.
Right? The enemy wants you to believe in God, but he wants you to believe in God tomorrow, not today.
Yep.
The enemy is more comfortable in church than he is in the club. He's not needed in the club. The reason he's not needed in the club is because he already got them.
That's right.
If you go to the church, a house divided cannot stand. If he's able to sit in church and mess up a church, now real work ain't getting done. So he's more comfortable in church than he is in the club.
Right.
So don't think because you're sitting in church, the enemy ain't going to attack you. No, you're probably going to attack more because you're sitting in church.
And then it says, put on the whole armor of God, the helmet of salvation,
Come on.
the breastplate of righteousness,
Come on.
the sword which is the word,
Yes.
and shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel.
Do you notice that God, but do you notice that God did not give us armor
For the back.
for our back? Because you're not meant to turn around. We're supposed to all meant to be walking forward together. The enemy can't sneak up on us if we're all walking towards it. It's when we turn around and we stop walking towards God and we stop reading the Bible that we turn our back to God, and that's when the enemy really could get us, because there's nothing on our back. What was it? 1 Timothy 2:7. God did not give me the spirit of fear, but of sound mind and power. So, negative thought patterns enter the thoughts captive. I have a different way of saying it. All my thoughts are guilty until proven innocent. All my thoughts are guilty until proven innocent. So who's the group of people that are in a courtroom that determine the verdict? Jury, who is your jury? Who are you bringing your thoughts to? Where people could be like, yo, Mike, that's a good idea. Yo, Mike, that isn't a good idea. Who's your jury? Who's helping you process your thoughts? If it's just you, good luck, man. I can't do it. There's nothing I do on my own in my life. Only the stupid shit I do on my own. But anything that happens well for me, someone help me. So if you're building a team, you must build a team of people who are strong where you are weak. What do you got?
The quarter. So you're talking about your back being exposed, right?
Yeah.
So on the 2020 quarter, George Washington's facing away from In God We Trust.
Okay.
They just started doing that. They turned their back on God. Before all the other quarters were facing.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
That's cool. That
I didn't even know that. Well said. So, if you're going to build a team, you must build a team of people who are strong where you are weak. Stop thinking that just an addict and alcoholic can help you. You got to move beyond that. Because if pain is universal and people know how to get through shit out there that have never picked up a drug that can help you with your depression. Not just drug addicts deal with depression and anxiety and fear and insecurities. We're not the only ones dealing with it. We're the ones that chose drugs to be the solution, though. That's it. There's people out there that can help you that have never picked up a drug, that have never lived a life. I sold myself short by thinking only a drug addict and an alcoholic could help me. My team doesn't even have that many drug addicts on it. The team of people that help me. They're people that have dealt with grief, though. They're people that have worked through depression. They're people who started businesses. It's people that are where I want to be, regardless of the lifestyle they lived prior to it. We are selling ourselves short by thinking only a fellow addict and an alcoholic can help you. Your therapist has an education with the mind. If you allowed yourself to be open-minded, you might get some help. Therapy saved my life when I was in treatment. Saved my life. It allowed me to navigate through these thoughts that I was never able to navigate through. But I was also open-minded for it, right? Automatic, distorted ways of thinking that lead to negative emotions, negative behaviors, and negative consequences. Automatic, negative thoughts are automatic that lead to negative emotions, behaviors, and consequences. So if the shit is automatic, I can't stop it. So how do I stop it? We first now have to know what these patterns are. The first one's called all or nothing thinking. What does that sound like? Very good. Cognitive distortion. This is just the street way of saying it. You said it the clinical way. Very good. What does all or nothing thinking sound like to you? How could all or nothing thinking create a negative thought pattern?
Overgeneralization. So if I say
That's a totally different pattern. We'll get to that one. We'll get to that one. Let me stay on the first one. I'll come right to you. We're going to get to that one. Negative thought patterns, all or nothing thinking. What does that sound like? All or nothing. Always and never. Black and white. So therefore, all or nothing thinking is either I'm perfect at it or I'm a failure. All or nothing thinking. I will give you an example. Say you got 30, 60, 90 days, whatever you got, 4 months, 6 months, and you use. Because you use, you stay in the fucking life instead of getting back into treatment to get better. All or nothing thinking is because you messed up once, that's it. You throw it all away. Because it's either perfect or nothing. All or nothing thinking, you're not allowing a gray area of failure. That's what all or nothing thinking is. It's either I do it all or I got nothing. It's called perfection. No such thing. You have to allow failure to have its place in this walk. Failure has to teach, not define. Failure has to teach you, not define your abilities.
Yeah, you can't have success without failure. You know, it's just part of it.
So I used to think they were opposites, right? I used to think failure and success were opposites. So therefore, one was good and one was bad. Because when people think opposites, that's what we usually think. One is good and one is bad. There is no success without failure.
Right, it's all part of the same thing.
Failure's on the path to success. So they're not opposites. They're actually in a relationship with one another. If you, we got
Successful people are the best failures.
successful people 100% because they know how to learn from their failure. So all or nothing thinking. If you went out and used right now and you give up, that's all or nothing thinking. And in active addiction, we learn really well from our failures. Anyone ever get caught boosting? And then learn how to get better at boosting so you didn't get caught? Anyone ever get caught in a lie and then learn how to lie better? You didn't stop lying. So we learned how to get better. Why? Because failure was stopping us from getting what we wanted. So then we learned what we needed to do to get what we wanted. Failure and recovery should not be all or nothing. Failure and recovery should be teaching you on how to recover, not telling you that you can't recover. Thomas Edison with the light bulb took him 1,001 times. Ever hear the quote?
Yeah, he learned 1,001 ways not to come out in the light bulb.
He said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. He said, I learned how to create the light bulb 1,000 times. The dude from Starbucks, I tell you guys all the time, was told no 269 times by a bank before he got the first bank loan to start the first one in Seattle. Look at Starbucks now. You think he's seen them as failures? So the word no, I like it as an acronym. Next opportunity. That's it. When I was in the club, back in the day, in my younger days, right? I would speak to every woman. Because the more I spoke to, the better the chance I had of getting and leaving with one. So law average is, the more no's you get, the closer to a yes you are getting. So I'd speak to all of them. She said, no, good. I crossed her off the list. It didn't bother me. She said, no, next opportunity, next one. So if I told you you were 1,000 no's away from getting everything you've ever wanted, how quickly you want to hear them no's? But sometimes no fucks us up. No just means that that person ain't the person that's going to do it with you. No just means that that job ain't the job God got for you. That's all it is. It's next opportunity. So all or nothing thinking. Viewing situations as black and white with no gray area. So, you see things in black and white. If things aren't perfect, you see them as a failure. Anybody feeling like that right now? Anybody feeling like a failure because you ain't got it all right now? Be careful. It's not about what I want, even though I make it times. It's about wanting what I already have. Wanting what I already have. If you think the grass is greener on the other side, the grass is greener where you water it at. And the grass gets greener the more that we appreciate whatever little you think you do have right now. Bible says those who can be trusted with a little can be trusted with a lot. Those who can't be trusted with a little cannot be trusted with a lot. You think God's going to give you more than what you have right now if you're not grateful for the little bit you think you have right now? No, because if I'm not grateful for what I have, where's my mindset? Focus on what I don't have. So I'm chasing the things I want instead of appreciating what I have.
What did you say last week? Last week you said that the shit you have now is what gave you the opportunity to have the options that are now available to you.
Yep.
You said something to that effect.
Very good.
Don't disrespect where you're standing, because what you built and what you're standing on is the reason you can see over the fucking fence now.
Yep.
In the first place, you can see the nearest fucking grass.
Yeah.
So don't talk shit about where you're at.
Plus, I have a lot of things in my life that make me happy and give me joy that I never thought would make me happy or give me joy. Bible says, delight yourself in the Lord and He will give you the desires of your heart. The more I walk with God, the less I wanted the things I wanted a year ago. So I'm glad. So if you're not getting what you want, God might not be giving you what you want, because what you want is a fleshly desire, and that desire will take you out. So God, being the good Father, ain't giving us that. The more you delight yourself in Him, the less you want it. So for instance, say you want to drive a Lamborghini. I'm not saying delighting yourself in the Lord is going to get you a Lamborghini. If it's actually that what's on your heart, what's going to happen is you're not going to want the Lamborghini no more. You're going to want something else. So if I'm not getting what I want today, I don't make a big deal about it, because I can't trust myself fully. I can't rely on myself for everything. I have to go to other people. The more I rely on myself, the more I take myself away from him. And then it becomes self-righteousness. Then it becomes ego and pride, and I'm always fighting with that in my life. I think that's we all have that one battle, I think. My one battle is my ego and my pride, and validation, and seeking attention, and needing people's attention to feel God's love. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my battle, and that's something I have to stay on point with. So all or nothing thinking. The example that we could give besides that, go ahead.
Jonah in the Bible.
Jonah, yeah.
Because he got the gourd over him, and then he's all pissed off. And then it was
I feel like Jonah sometimes.
And the one who ate the gourd that God gave him and kept giving him
Jonah said no. God said, all right.
It's hot out there.
Yeah, Jonah told God, I ain't doing that. You ain't sending me to that country. That country is just murderers and everything, and you want me to go there and tell them that your wrath is coming? Jonah got eaten by a whale or something and got spit out on the ocean. I feel like that sometimes. God, I ain't doing that. Yeah,
It was
still.
after he died and obeyed the
Yes.
preach against Nineveh that God
And Nineveh listened.
to protect him from the sun, and then he brought a worm to chew it up
Yep.
and eat it up, and he got all pissed off at God again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with him. I'm with him, right?
That's all or nothing.
So yes, all or nothing. So another example of all or nothing. Say you started a diet, and you're doing well for a week, and then you have a piece of pie. You berate yourself. I'm such a failure. I might as well eat the whole fucking pie now. That's all or nothing thinking. You're not giving yourself the opportunity to have gray area. There's a lot of gray area in life, y'all. There's a lot of gray area when it comes to life. If we're trying to make things black or white, you're trying to make an understanding of something that maybe you don't need an understanding. Maybe we just need to practice it. My walk with God isn't meant for me to understand God. I have to believe in God. The more I believe in God, the more he gives me his understanding, right? So the way I like to describe recovery or faith, whatever it is, I describe it like Amazon. Amazon, you first what? Buy the product, right? You don't get to see if it fits. You can't even see if the electronics work. You're giving your money without receiving the product. Faith and recovery is the same thing. Why do we go to Amazon? It has what? It has a track record of delivering your package. So you trust Amazon with your money first before you get the product. Recovery and faith is the same thing. You must buy into this first before you're going to get the product. I wanted the product first, and then I buy into it. You ain't going to get the product unless you buy into this and do the work first. Because to me, success is a byproduct, meaning it's a result. So if success is a result, that means something has to happen before it in order for success to come to me. To me, success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. That is my definition of success. Do not conform the patterns of this world, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Success in the real world is your status, the money in your pocket, the car that you're driving, the title at your job. Out there, that is considered success. So you don't feel successful until you have it. So then we cut corners and sell our soul to get those things. To me, success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm.
Can you write that down? Byproduct. That was amazing.
Thank you. I'm the vessel.
If you write it out, though, it's like insane that you connected those two.
Well, and prosperity is a byproduct of suffering.
Yeah, but you're buying the product and then you have the byproduct.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes, very good. Well, I didn't even think of it like that. Good shit. Iron sharpens iron. I'm going to say that now. Good stuff. So the first one is all or nothing thinking. So we're all clear on what all or nothing thinking is, right? What is the one thing that we have to do so we don't fall into the negative thought pattern of all or nothing thinking? What's the one thing that we're going to have to allow happen?
Live in the gray area.
Say it. You said it. Failure. You're going to have to allow failure in your life in order to not have that as a negative thought pattern. Because if you do not want to fail, you are not going to put yourself in positions where you could be challenged. You are not going to go outside your comfort zone if you're afraid to fail. You're going to do the bare minimum like I did, not get the full result, be upset that we're not getting what other people are getting, and then give up on the process. That was my whole life. The second one is overgeneralization. You want to explain overgeneralization?
No, I think I had it wrong. You guys said all or nothing thinking.
So overgeneralization is one thing happens, and then you think it's always going to happen. These two words I really want you to pay attention to. Always and never. These two words will create negative thought patterns. Let's break it down. One thing happens and you believe that it's always going to happen to you. Or you want something to happen, and when it doesn't, you think it's never going to happen to you. These thoughts are upsetting and set up a cycle of defeat. These two words will create defeat. Meaning, say you give someone your trust, and they use it against you. See? That always happens to me. You're not going to be trustworthy to people no more. Or you ask someone out on a date, and they say, no, I'm never going to get a date. These are playing the victim, these two words. We're playing the victim when we use these two words. This creates negative thought patterns. We have to allow things its own experience every time. I'm not saying don't be prepared because of the last time, but you have to allow life to be experienced rather than the expectations of it. We expect people to be a certain way. No, have an experience with people instead of expectations.
That's kind of like with prejudice, though. Like, you have to have discrimination before you have the act of prejudice. Discrimination is the mindset. So if I can label it, stigmatize it, then I can kill it.
Very good. Well said. So the second one is overgeneralization. Stop overgeneralizing stuff. Just because it's not happening today doesn't mean you ain't going to get it tomorrow or a year from now. Just because of that, things change. I don't know about you. Where were you a year ago? Are you in the same place today that you were a year ago?
No.
Things change, right? So the third one's called mental filter. What does that sound like to you? I'll give you an illustration. Coffee pot, right? Coffee pot has a coffee filter, correct? What goes in the coffee filter?
Coffee.
What comes out the filter?
Coffee.
So what comes out the filter is what we what?
Drink.
We drink. What stays in the filter, we throw away. Mental filter being a negative thought pattern, what we leave in the filter is the positive shit, and what we allow to drip into the pot is the negative shit, and we drink it. I'll give you an example. Say there's 20 people up here, and 19 of them say you're doing great, but one says you're not. Who are you focused on? The one. That is mental filter. You allow the 19, the good stuff in your life, you are pushing to the side, and we're only focusing on the negative. It's a mental filter. It's a lot of positive in your life right now if you really want to look for it.
It's a survival response, though.
Yes, it is.
I mean, we were genetically, like, it's for, it's, you know, like when prehistoric days were meant to survive by focusing on the negative things that's going to hurt us.
Yes.
Because if not, we're going to die.
Also,
100%. That's why this is a practice of knowing when we're in it to just get out of it sooner because I can't stop it. People say they don't care what people think. Please tell me how the fuck you doing that. Please. Because I care what people think. I do. I care only what a certain type of people think. Those who accept me for who I am and rock with me, I care what they think. If you're walking around life not caring what people think, that's bad. You should care what people think about you. What I mean is, the way I promote myself to the world is that I care what people think about me. So I promote myself in a way that should be received. If you do not receive me for who I am today, I don't care what you think. But I am promoting myself as though I care what everybody thinks. Because now I'm always conscious of my actions whenever I'm doing something. I care what people think, but if you ain't rocking with me, your opinion has value. Everyone's opinion has value to me. Why? Because it's your opinion. It just doesn't hold weight in my life, though. Not all opinions hold weight in my life. So we should care what people think. But if they're not seeing us for who we are, whatever they think really don't concern me. But I still operate And so I care what people think. In active addiction, we don't care what people think. And look where it took us because we don't care what people think. Look how we presented ourselves in active addiction because we don't care what people think. Listen, it's a great tattoo. It'll make a great song and a great bumper sticker. But it's not reality. You should care what people think, not for their validation. You should care for what people think because of how you're going to present yourself to the world. If I want people to see me different, I must first see myself different. Different view, different you. Once I see myself differently, I now start to project something different. When I project something different, then I could be perceived differently. You want people to see you differently, you must project a different person. Before you can project a different person, you must see yourself as that person. You had your hand up?
I heard mind filtering is like when you put your finger and you block the view of the mouth.
This is mental filtering.
Is that mental filtering?
I don't know. What you're saying is something totally... we're talking about patterns of thoughts.
Okay,
So that might just be a grounding technique or a practice of sort.
Cognitive distortion.
Say it again.
When you block the view of the forest from the trees, so like you're concentrating only on your finger.
Yeah, so if the finger is negative, you're not looking beyond the negative. Yeah, you're only seeing the tree. For me, looking at drug use as my problem is only looking at the trees. There's a whole forest of problems behind my drug use. So to only look at my drug use, I'm only seeing the trees, so I'm not really getting any progress. We need to get to the forest. So very good. So because of mental filtering, we rarely give people the benefit of the doubt. Because we're always focused on the negative, we don't give people the benefit of the doubt. And then the Bible says you will be judged in the manner in which you judge. So if you ain't giving people the benefit of the doubt, don't expect people to start giving you the benefit of the doubt. So because of that, we discount the positive. We often feel inadequate or unappreciated because you ignore positive experiences. Anybody feel inadequate? Anybody feel unappreciated? If that is true, it's because we're discounting any kind of positive in our lives. This one's a big one. Jumping to conclusions. Has anybody ever jumped to conclusions? Jumping to conclusions, has it ever created a negative thought pattern?
Every time.
Every time. There's a great quote by Mark Twain. My life is full of terrible misfortunes, which never happened.
A couple of them actually happened.
So jumping to conclusions, all right? How often have you jumped to a conclusion based on a feeling or a thought without any evidence to support it?
TikTok.
All the time.
If I asked you, what evidence can you prove to me that you can't get this right? Give me evidence that you can't do this. Give me evidence that you can. I have evidence that I could be successful in recovery because I have evidence that I was successful in active addiction. A good cop could be a great criminal. A great criminal could be a great cop. So therefore, if you could do active addiction evidence, then you could do recovery. Because only people that are successful in recovery are those who that weren't successful in active addiction. So the evidence that you have that you can get this right is the evidence that showed you on how wrong you were getting it. My active addiction is the reason why I'm successful in my recovery. You can't have one without the other. So if you could be an active addict, that means you could be someone in recovery. If you were a failure, that means you could be successful. Mentally strong people don't think in polarities. Anybody know what polarities are?
Duality.
In a sense, duality. Polarities means one or the other. Light, dark, black, white, success, failure. One or the other. Polarities. It's either one or the other. To me, if I ask you what came first, the chicken or the egg, some people say the chicken, some people say the egg. What I realize is it's not about what came first. It's about the relationship. There is no chicken without the egg, and there is no egg without the chicken. There is no success without failure. There is no happiness without sadness. There is no prosperity without suffering. It's not about one or the other. It's about the relationship. How could your act of addiction make you successful in recovery? How can your failure teach you success? How can your sadness make you appreciate happiness? It's a relationship. What determines a relationship? What are some things that determine a good relationship?
Mutual exchange.
Mutual exchange, very good. Trust, very good. Loyalty. What else? Anything else? Consistency. That is the number one. You can't have trust, love, loyalty, exchange without communication. So in order to have my act of addiction turn into a blessing and keep me in my recovery, I must communicate with the old version of me differently now. No more resentment, no more anger, no more shoulda, woulda, couldas. Thank you, bro, you got through this. Let's learn how we get better now. Thank you for not giving up. You need to cheer yourself on today instead of beat yourself down today. Communication is everything, y'all. Everything. If you are not communicating with your past, you have no relationship with your past. If you're having a bad conversation with your past, you're having a bad relationship with who you are. If you're having a good relationship with your past, you're learning from it, you're starting to appreciate who you used to be and everything that you did in order to get you to where you are today. If I'm having no conversation with God, I got no relationship with God. How could God answer prayers if you ain't praying to him? If I got a good conversation with God, I got a good relationship. Bad conversation only comes from me. Bad relationship. So I want to know, what is the conversation like with your pain? Is it to get wiser, or are you getting wounded by it? Are you learning from your pain? What caused it? What we did to make it worse? I'm so conscious of my own conversation. Are you listening to yourself throughout the day? Or are you just talking? Mm-hmm. If you pay attention to what's going on in your mind and how you're speaking to yourself, you're going to start to see why life is so difficult for you. It's not difficult because of the difficulties. It's difficult because of how we're communicating with the difficulties. I struggle. I just don't struggle with my struggles no more. I still struggle though, but I don't struggle with it. I'm able to work through it, right? So jumping to conclusions, there's two different types, right? One is called the mind reading, where you seem to know exactly how someone is thinking, and you often interpret an action or a response and conclude that you are not liked or that someone is angry with you. Text messaging does that shit the worst. Because you don't even know, when someone texts you something, you're reading it in the mood that you're fucking in. So someone might be joking, but since you're pissed off, you're taking it as something bad. You're concluding that they don't like you, and now that is, my life is full of terrible misfortunes, which never happened. Now you have a problem with somebody. Now you won't even speak to him about it because we don't have good conflict resolution. So now they're an enemy from nothing. From nothing. People are receiving what's being brought to them in the place that they're in. So I know, working with people, that discernment better be what I practice instead of judgment. Because if I was judgment, when I come to some of these groups and people ain't paying attention, judgment is like, yo, you don't want this? Gonna get the fuck out. But discernment is, I've been there, and it's not that you don't want it. You might be going through something, you just don't feel it today. So I'm gonna let you rock. I let everybody rock. Cell phones, everything. I don't know what you're going through. So I'm gonna let you rock. Judgment, though, is, yo, if you don't want to be here, get the fuck out. That doesn't work, though. That does not work. So we need to learn discernment. The why behind the action, rather than the action be the why. Let me say that again. The why behind the action, rather than the action be the why. Magnification, minimization. What does that sound like? If I got a magnifying glass, what is it doing to these letters? It's enlarging it, right? How can magnification be a negative thought pattern?
It causes catastrophication.
Yes, it can. But the magnification, what are we doing to something that's causing a problem?
Making mountains out of molehills.
There you go. Well, you're making pebbles out of mountain. The other way, that's minimization. You said mountains into what?
Yeah, molehills out of mountains.
Yes. So magnification, you're making something small bigger than what it needs to be. Minimization, we're taking something big and making it like it's not a problem. I got high for both those reasons. I got high because I made little problems big problems. And I got high because I made big problems smaller when I was high. And I didn't have to work on it.
That's snowball.
Yes. What are some things that you magnify? What are some things that you make a big deal that shouldn't be a big deal? Anything come to mind? Something you might have magnified in the past that led to drug use.
Fear.
Very good.
Other people's like
Yeah?
feelings on my.
Yeah?
Feeling inadequate.
Inadequate.
Short people got nobody.
How about traffic? I used to magnify traffic was like the end of the fucking world.
Yeah, it was a very unhealthy relationship I had while I was driving with
Yeah.
traffic. And to the point that I just had to quit carrying it completely.
There you go.
You know, I mean, it was,
Customer service people.
Yeah? Anybody else? Can you think of a time something happened to you that was not a big deal, but you made it a big deal?
And then you made the consequences happen.
Yes.
It then validated your thought that that shit was a big deal. And now you got receipts for that shit being a big deal.
Because I magnified something, I made a big... For instance, let's say staff says come back in 10 minutes. Oh, fuck this shit, I ain't fucking doing... That's magnification. That's magnification. You're magnifying a problem. Look what happens. So now minimization. Has anyone ever minimized a big problem that created this?
Drug use.
Denial. Denial is minimization. I ain't that bad yet.
I would just get around people.
Things aren't that bad yet. I'm telling you something from my own life. Whenever I said things ain't that bad yet, they were already bad. If you could say it's not that bad yet, you're actually acknowledging that there's something bad in your life, but you ain't want to do nothing about it.
That's dissonance.
I have a problem saying things aren't as bad as they used to be, and that's what, you know.
Oh, that's minimization.
Right.
That's minimization. Things ain't as bad as they used to be, even though they're still fucked up, but they ain't as bad as they used to be.
Right.
That's minimization. If I could say that, that means I got a problem in my life. And then what's the definition of relapse? The deterioration of improvement. What happens is that we recognize these problems, but we minimize them. And since we minimize them, we create negative emotions, behaviors, and consequences. Drug use. Because we're minimizing the problem. If you could say that there's a problem in your life, that means that something needs to be worked on. Right? So, emotional reasoning. This cognitive distortion allows you to believe that whatever you're feeling must be so. Has anyone ever... I used to say it, I don't say it no more. Does anybody feel that you should trust your gut over everything?
Nope. No, I don't.
Good. Good answers. Good. Yeah. My gut got me locked up.
Yeah, I don't trust my gut either.
You know how many times I met a female and my gut told me that she was the one? Within 2 weeks, toxic. But my gut, my feelings, you cannot trust your feelings. Emotional reasoning means that if it feels good, it is good. And if it feels bad, it's bad. That's emotional reasoning. We're allowing our feelings to dictate our environment and our mood. I'm going to tell you something I've learned. Winning doesn't always feel like winning. It just doesn't. We got.
Also, the multitude of counselors say if I don't know a clear decision, and I'm thinking over, on something, an idea or a decision I gotta make, multitude of counselors say, I'm gonna come to you, feel this about it.
Yeah.
Hey man, what's up with this? Can you help me?
Yep.
And we'll figure it out.
Yep. Bible says get a multitude of counsel, right?
Yeah.
So winning doesn't always feel like winning. So let's say yesterday you had a bad day at your house. You sold a living house and shit didn't work out. People pushing your buttons. You're pissed off. But at the end of the night, you didn't pick up. You didn't give up. You won. You won the day. Winning doesn't always feel like winning. So to make winning and happiness have to be attached to a feeling, you ain't going to be happy that much, and you ain't going to feel like you're winning that much. We can't have feelings attached to everything. That's emotional reasoning, right? So we rely on gut feelings to guide our decisions. We believe things are true because they feel true. And we can have difficulty separating emotions from facts. Facts are evidence-based. You could prove with evidence that I was a degenerate. You could prove with evidence that I was a criminal in my rap sheet. You could prove with evidence I was homeless. You could prove this with evidence. If I make that fact attached to an emotion, I am now fucked because the emotion is going to make it true. And I'm never going to be able to change. Facts change. It's 10:15. A minute from now, that won't be a fact. But it's a fact right now. But a minute from now, it won't be. So therefore, facts change. Facts and truths are two different things. This is truth. This book never changes. Even though you might read it and I might talk to you differently, the book never changes. This is truth. Facts change. If I was truly a drug addict, and that is who I am as a person, then explain to me how I'm not today then. If that's true. It's just a fact. Me being a drug addict was a fact. You can prove it with evidence. It is not a fact today, so therefore I do not define nor do I identify as an addict. Because if I identify as an addict when I'm in recovery, what I'm saying, me to myself, is that the truth is I am always going to be a drug addict, whether I'm using or I'm not. Definition of an addict is someone who's addicted to a controlled substance. Anybody addicted to a controlled substance outside their MAT right now? So you are not drug addicts. I am not looking at drug addicts. I'm looking at people who were drug addicts like I was. I'm looking, the truth of the matter is that we're children of God. That's the truth. The truth is that we do recover. That's the truth. That's something that doesn't change. We do recover. It's not a fact. That's truth. So I don't allow my past to define me. My past is an explanation. That's it. It's a history lesson. I do not define myself based on yesterday. I'm defined by what I do today. Today is what defines me as a person. So even if I did nothing yesterday, but I'm doing something today, I'm a better person today than I was yesterday. So that's how I define myself. I define myself by what I do today, not what happened yesterday. Because I can live off success real easy and fall off really quick. How many people make their recovery identity the amount of days clean? So their identity becomes days already done rather than the day living. So they'll feed off of a couple years and then stop going to meetings and stop doing the things because they're living off their past success, so they stop practicing it in the present. And when we stop practicing shit in the present, you know what's going to happen? Old shit is going to take its place. If you're not constantly practicing new behaviors, new way of thinking, new habits, what's going to happen is that the old is going to take its place. Look at our lives. We've all had moments where our lives have gotten better, I'm pretty sure. Unless this is your first time in treatment. I'm pretty sure your life gotten better. And then something happened. And then it didn't. Look at your past. You probably stopped practicing shit. And went back to some old behaviors. Or thought you got it, like I did. Whatever you think you got, you're getting got by it. I'm telling you that right now. Whatever you think you have control over already has control over you. But once you have that thought, right? We'll close it up with this and then we'll finish everything the second group. Should statements. Should, must, these are judgment words. What I mean is think you should do something and you don't do it. How are you going to feel about yourself?
Negatively.
Think you must do something and you don't do it. How are you going to feel about yourself? You think someone should do something for you and they don't do it. How are you going to think about them? You think someone must do something and they don't do it. How are you going to think about them? We're putting so much pressure on ourselves because of the should and the must. And when we don't get it done, we get so hard on ourselves. This creates negative thought patterns. If you think you should do something and you don't do it and talk down to yourself, you think you're going to go get it done? No. It's not about should and it's not about must. It's just what can you get done today? What can I do today to make myself better? This is why I ask for action words. What are we practicing today? What are you going to practice? What behavior today are you going to practice that's going to make you better tomorrow? Right? So we did this last week. We'll call it a very productive person. Sleeps for 7 hours, right? Works for 8 hours, So that's what? That's 15. How many hours are left in the day?
6.
9.
None.
9 hours, you could do whatever the fuck you want to do. If you're able to do this, though. If you're able to be productive for 8 hours. I'm blessed where I don't work a 9 to 5. So my 8 hours of productivity are from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. Today it'll be from 4 a.m. to 12. Once I'm finished with my group today, the rest of the day is mine. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Because I could do that. The reason I could do that is because I banged it out in the morning. I was productive. I read my Bible. I worked out. I jogged today. I cooked breakfast. I washed my dishes. I came here. I'm going to run groups. We're going to feed off each other. I'm good the rest of the day now. Now, anything that I choose to do the rest of the day is my choice now. I live my life happy because of these 9. It don't have to be all work, no play, but you must be productive. What does productive look like? We spoke about it last week. It means hyper-focused. Hyper-focused. Social media, I don't touch social media until my leisure time. A lot of phone calls I leave to the nighttime. A lot of text messages, nighttime. How focused can you be from 9 to 12 today? How focused and productive, meaning are you learning something that you're writing down or remembering and then going to practice it when you leave here? That's productivity. Do not mistake activity for productivity. Do not mistake movement for progress. You could be moving backwards. How productive, how focused. Focus is the art of knowing what to ignore. Not necessarily always focused on the prize. You need to know what you have to ignore. Because if you don't know what to ignore, how are you going to stay focused? So what does that mean? Distractions. What are your distractions? What distracts you? I'd be reading the Bible. After 2 lines, I'm thinking about Chinese food. And then I got to ask the Holy Spirit to bring me back. And then I read another chapter and I'm thinking about some shit that happened to me 10 years ago. And then I'm praying to God. I'm talking to God. And then I'm thinking about some chick. And then I got to apologize to God. Like, this is my walk with Christ. I don't know if you think it has to be like, no, you be you. You just bring yourself back when you realize you're focused on the wrong direction. Bring yourself back. There is no way for me to be hyper-focused 24 hours a day. I'm distracted easily sometimes. But when say it again? Squirrel. But when you notice that you're being distracted in that moment, what are you doing? Are you feeding the distraction? Or are you shifting now your focus back to what you need to do? You know how many times I got to shift my focus back to God when I'm reading the Bible or I'm praying? So many. I thought I was doing something wrong in the beginning until I spoke to my pastor. My pastor's been a pastor 40 years and he sometimes still struggles with the believing in God. That's what faith is. You think you're going to always just believe that God exists? No. Your faith needs to be tested so it can be strengthened. The testing of your faith strengthens your faith, the Bible says. You know when you don't need faith? Do you know when you're not going to need faith? When you're dead and you're with Jesus. Why? Because he's no longer unseen. You're with him. Faith is the belief in the unseen. How much faith can you have in progress, even though you might not be seeing progress right now? How much faith do you have that you could do this, even though right now you might feel like you can't do this? It might be hard to have faith in yourself. I go to my active addiction. I'm like, all right, Mike, well, where did we have faith in ourselves in active addiction? And you know what usually always comes up in my head? Using the wake up the night before broke. I had faith that I was going to wake up the next morning broke and still get what I needed to get. I had faith in myself to get the job done. Even though I had no money and I had no scheme set up and nothing. I knew I was going to make it happen. I had faith in myself. So you can have faith in yourself. You got to just keep practicing it, all right? You guys can take a break. I'll come back 10:45, all right?